Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talk More Talk, a solo Beatles video cast. And hope you're a lot warmer than here in the Midwest where we are cold. Yeah, shut up, Tom. Where we're cold. Cold and snowy, but we're going to I think warm everybody up with a fun topic tonight. I'm really looking forward to this, and it's going to be about the solo videos of the 1970s. I think this is going to be a really good discussion, and we may do some follow-up episodes of the solo music videos. So we'll see. This might be the first of a kind of a mini series. We'll see. But we're really excited and welcome. Glad to see you here. So before we get to our topic, as always, want to introduce ourselves. And my name is Kit O'Toole. I'm the author of Songs We Were Singing, Guided Tours to the Beatles' Lesser Known Tracks, Michael Jackson FAQ, All That's Left to Know About the King of Pop. And I'm the co-editor of our friend with my friend Ken Womack, the book Fandom and the Beatles, the act you've known for all these years. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my good friends that I'm fortunate enough to share every other Monday with. I'm always look forward to it. He is the host of the popular YouTube channel Mean Mr. Mayo, where he talks about vinyl collecting, of course, Beatles, all things Beatles. And he has a great show on there called Fab Gab, where you never know what the topic's going to be. It could be ranking Beatles tracks, Beatles albums. You just never know. There's always a good dash of humor there as well. So say hello to Joe Mayo. Hello, Joe. Good to see you.
Hi, Kit. Hello, everyone. Hello, Tom. Hello, Ken.
Hey, Joe.
Great to be here for another really big shoe.
Really big shoe, indeed. Absolutely. Next, he is the co-host, along with Andy Nichols, of the very popular videocast and podcast, Two Legs, which is all about Paul McCartney and pretty much anything you can think of from the McCartney years, the films, the albums, the singles, you name it, they cover it. And you just had a great announcement that you got up to on your YouTube channel, 900 subscribers.
Yeah.
So keep the subscriptions coming, folks. Go over to the channel and let's get those numbers up.
Excuse me for a minute there. Just let me say, Tom, I just did a video you might want to check out.
I'm going to check that out, and we're going to learn a lot.
100 subscribers in one day. Just put the video up.
All over that, buddy.
There you go. So show your love to Tom Hagnotti. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Kit. Ken and Joe, it's good to be with you guys again. And happy birthday, Ken Womack. We're hoping you're having a great day.
Yes. Happy birthday, Ken. Right. Yes. Absolutely. Good. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. And last but most definitely not least, he is what the kids would call the OG of the Beatles fan community. He is. He is one busy man because he hosts not one, not two, but 3 shows. I don't know how he does it. He is the longtime host of the syndicated show Every Little Thing, where he plays just that. The Beatles, songs from the Beatles years, the solo years, all organized under a central theme, and he always comes up with really creative themes. Right. He is also the co-host of the popular podcast Things We Said Today, along with Darren DeVivo and Alan Kozin. They discuss all different topics, and you never know who will pop up on that show. You know. Just
Peter Jackson,
Peter
maybe.
Jackson. You never know.
1 week Peter Jackson, next week Kit O'Toole.
Yeah, that's right. You never know. And last but definitely not least, he is the host of his own YouTube channel, Ken Michaels Radio, and that's another one where you never know who will pop up on there. He has interviewed everybody from authors to musicians to podcast hosts. video cast host. You never know. And it's on a range of topics, of course, Beatles and solo related. So give some love to Ken Michaels. Hello, Ken.
Thank you, Kit. What an introduction. I'm sorry we're out of time now. The show's just about over. Did that last 5 minutes? Kit?
Right.
Well, there's a lot to cover. Good Lord.
It's like the Rocky movies when they're introducing Apollo Creed and he's got 20 nicknames as he's coming down the aisle.
Or the Monty Python sketch where there's a quiz show, and by the time Eric Idle's done with all the rules and regulations, time's up.
It's over.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. We're just too darn busy here on with all of our different things.
That's funny. We got a comment here from Mark. Ken's podcasts are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Oh, thank you.
I like
that.
Mark. You should use that. You should
Okay.
use that. I like that a lot. All right. Well, now that you all know who we are, not that you didn't know already, but now that you know, we will get to our topic in just a few minutes. And of course, we want to know what your favorite videos are, but save that thought because first, as always, we have the news. So Ken, what have you got for us? What's the news?
Well, quite a bit has happened in the last couple of weeks. And actually, the first news item feels like it happened quite a while ago already. We have to mention the passing of Ronnie Specter, which was on January the 12th. Of course, she was one of the legendary singers of the rock era, and she had one of the most distinctive voices. As soon as you hear her voice, you know it's her. Known for a lot of hits with the Ronettes, Be My Baby, Baby I Love You, Walking in the Rain. The Ronettes actually were part of the Beatles' 1966 US tour, but minus Ronnie, because Phil Spector didn't want her to be a part of it. Her other Beatle connection, well, she had a record contract with Apple Records, and she did release the single of Try Some Buy Some, George Harrison's song. That was in 1971. Didn't do that well on the charts, went only as high as number 77. But George later took the backing tracks and used it and released his own version on Living in the Material World. The B-side of that single was a song called Tandoori Chicken, which George wrote with Phil Spector, kind of like a jam song that they put together really quickly. But actually, the plan was with Ronnie Spector to have a full album on Apple, and it was going to be her big comeback album. This was a big dream of Phil's. Sadly, that didn't happen. She did release an album in 2014 called English Heart, which you should be aware of because she covered all British invasion acts of the 60s on there, including the Beatles. She covered I'll Follow the Sun. But artists like the Animals and the Zombies, the Kinks, Jerry and the Pacemakers, they were all covered on this album. Also, we do know, if you remember what John said when he was recording the rock and roll album, he told Phil Spector, I just want to be Ronnie. Meaning just the singer.
Right.
Yeah.
And in fact, John did cover Be My Baby during those sessions. Although that didn't end up on the rock and roll album, it was on the John Lennon anthology box set. I also just want to give a shout out, as I did on the other podcast that I do, Things We Said Today, to our recent guest, John Montagna, because on Facebook, on his own page, I wasn't aware of this, but if you happen to own a copy of the original Let It Be album, in the inner groove, you will find inscribed Phil and Ronnie in there.
Wow.
And it's on both sides too. Never knew about this, but thank you, John, for pointing that out. So Ringo actually said, God bless you, Ronnie. Peace and love to all the family. Peace and love. And she will be missed, no doubt. Don't forget that the Beatles' Apple rooftop performance will be shown for one day only at IMAX theaters on January the 30th. That's this Sunday. And in select movie theaters on February the 11th for 3 days through the 13th. And that the amazing documentary of Get Back will be coming out on DVD Blu-ray on February the 8th. The Beatles' own website, thebeatles.com, is selling the DVD for $34.99 and the Blu-ray for $44.99. And as of today, that's January 24th, the DVD is selling on Amazon for $27.99, but the Blu-ray is not listed as of yet.
I finally ordered it, finally, but the Blu-ray, but if not from Amazon. Walmart.
I didn't either.
I'm sure it will be available.
Yeah.
Also, the newest reissue of A Hard Day's Night, the movie, has just come out from Criterion. This is in 4K UHD Blu-ray as a combo. That's 2 discs. Also a DVD Blu-ray, which is 3 discs. And there are loads of special edition features on those. A Beatles-related film, The Girl Can't Help It, will also be coming out on Criterion as a DVD Blu-ray. That's on April the 19th. This was the rock and roll film from 1956 that starred many early rock and rollers like Little Richard, Fats Domino, Gene Vincent, Eddie Cochran, Eddie Fontaine, and the Platters. And the Beatles, hopefully you all know, took a break from their recording session for the song Birthday to watch the movie at Paul's house at Cavendish Avenue. The Girl Can't Help It, which was, of course, a song that Little Richard did.
Great song.
And also Eddie Cochran in that movie did 20 Flat Rock. Okay, very important song in Beatle history right there.
Yes, indeed.
I just finished recording an interview with Bruce Spicer, Al Sussman, and Tom Frangione from our YouTube channel, Ken Michaels Radio. All of us discussing the Get Back documentary, and Bruce revealed that he will have another new book coming out in the fall covering the Beatles' Rubber Soul and Revolver albums and everything in between, including the Yesterday and Today album. Now, one popular feature of his books, the ones that commemorate Beatles albums, is that he takes memories from fans about these albums and what was going on at the time, and he puts them in his books. And if you would like to contribute something for Bruce's new book, you can contact him through his website, which is beatle.net, and the deadline to send him something is February the 15th. Okay, from 2 of my primary news sources, Darren DeVivo and our own Tom, I've learned that Ringo, who quite often will help a friend by playing drums on a song for them, has done just so for his fellow all-star Colin Hay, who has a new album coming out on March the 18th called Now and the Evermore. Ringo drums on the title track, and Colin will be doing a U.S. tour starting March the 18th and running through April the 7th. And that's before he's raring to go on Ringo's All-Star Band tour, which starts in June. Also from the DeVivo report, we mentioned that the Grammy Awards was postponed because of COVID. There is a new date for the awards ceremony, and that's April the 3rd, to be held at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Paul McCartney has been nominated for Best Rock Song for Find My Way and Best Rock Album for McCartney 3. And George Harrison's 50th anniversary edition for All Things Must Pass is also up for a Grammy Best Boxed or Special Limited Edition package. Okay, so the new date now is April the 3rd. Just recently being leaked out on the internet was a performance from the Beatles dated April the 5th of 1963 at the EMI House. This was a private performance for record company executives of the group doing 2 of their big hits at the time, From Me to You and Please Please Me. And this was done to celebrate the award for their first silver disc for the single of Please Please Me. And a couple more news items. The Liverpool Echo is reporting that Jerry Marsden, the legendary singer who was lead singer of Jerry and the Pacemakers, who sadly passed away last January at the age of 78, will be honored by his hometown. The Mersey Ferry Terminal at Liverpool's Pier Head will be renamed the Liverpool Jerry Marsden Ferry Terminal. Jerry's classic hit, Ferry Across the Mersey, is still played on the ferry every day. Jerry was also given the honorary Freedom of the Ferries Award in 1985 in honor of his special connection. It's nice to see Jerry being honored again. And then finally, this news came out today. This is kind of a hard concept to grasp. There's an auction that will take place of Julian Lennon's own personal memorabilia. It's called an NFT auction. NFT means non-fungible token or fungible token. Non-fungible means something that is unique and can't be replaced. He is offering Beatles and John Lennon items, but not to own them physically.
Yeah.
Each item is offered as an audio-visual collectible with a narration from Julian. Among the items you can bid on are the handwritten notes for the song Hey Jude from Paul McCartney, the Afghan coat that John wore in Magical Mystery Tour, the black cape that John wore in Help, a Gibson Les Paul guitar copy gifted by John to Julian, a Gibson Les Paul 2550 gifted by John to Julian, and a Gibson 1959 guitar gifted by John to Julian. The bidding just started today, and it runs through February the 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific time in Beverly Hills and live online at juliansauctions.com. Kind of funny. It's Julian Lennon. It's at Julian's Auctions.
And I hope I win.
Is this a new thing?
I hope you get a winner with it.
Yeah. Is this a new thing? Because I haven't heard of this before, where you just auction things up but not to own?
Never heard of this, ever.
Oh.
Yeah, I think this, I read
thing?
somewhere, this is a first for Julian's Auctions for auction NFTs. And NFTs are certainly, you know, the hot thing. But yeah, auctioning them, yeah, this is new to me. I don't know. You know, I mean, I would obviously, and I think most people would rather own the physical thing.
Sure.
Right.
I mean,
I'm not gonna pay. Yeah, I don't want to pay like $100 grand just for an email of Paul McCartney's handwritten, you know, lyrics for Hey Jude.
Yeah.
Well, but Julian's also involved in some way with narration for it, so I don't know if.
I mean, there's a little more to it than a photo, but I don't know. I don't know how this is going to fly.
It says on the website that they're even accepting cryptocurrencies. And proceeds from the sales will benefit Julian's charity, the White Feather Foundation. So at least you know it's going to a charity.
Yeah.
But this is kind of strange to me.
Right.
So new
if that's the case, I mean, because if you're doing that with like lyrics, why not just set a certain price and let multiple people get it? You know what I mean? Instead of just one person bidding, you know, up to whoever knows how much it'll bid for, the winner will bid for. But, you know, why not set a price for multiple people to get it so you can get more funds for your charity? I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't fully understand it myself, but it seems to be the new thing.
Yep.
So that's it for the news.
All right. Thank you, Ken. Ending on a puzzling note. So
I'm good for that.
Scratch our heads. And, all right. Well, thank you, Ken. And we will move on to our main topic. And I saw a couple of people in the comments were already itching to share their favorites. So it looks like we've got a hot topic tonight. So that's great. So before we share our specific favorites, just thought ask a couple of more general questions to get started. Well, as we know, the Beatles certainly were pioneers in music video. You know, I just not only, I mean, of course, even in their earlier years, and through Hard Day's Night and Help, and then, of course, with Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane and Rain, and, you know, got even more, you know, more artsy with their promo videos. Once they broke up, then in the solo years, they continued filming videos, but they were a bit different than the Beatles years. But they, I believe, a lot of these videos were shown, particularly in Britain, at Top of the Pops and other shows.
Sometimes they send them to Ed Sullivan.
Yeah.
You know, you see from time to time on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, true.
You know,
Smothers Brothers.
Yeah, Smothers Brothers. There you go.
You know.
Yeah, actually, Flip Wilson show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mary
right.
Had Little Lamb was on.
Yeah, that's right. Because of course, no MTV. So so they were shown in these different venues. So that brings me to my first question. So we are focusing tonight on the 70s, as I mentioned at the top of the show. So I'll first direct this to Ken and Joe. I keep, I'm sorry we keep harping on, you guys. But I'm sorry, Tom and I.
We each have one foot in the grave, huh?
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
Oh, speak for yourself.
You're a little more experienced.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
thank
how
you.
about that? We're a little more experienced. Where did you guys first see these videos? Do you remember seeing any particular videos on a particular show, or where did you see them? Let's start with Ken. Do you recall seeing them?
Well, definitely the one I just mentioned, Flip Wilson.
Yeah.
That was a big deal because I remember it being promoted on television. Paul McCartney will be on the Flip Wilson show. But I think I did see Sentimental Journey, the video for that on the Ed Sullivan show. But in most cases, I hate to tell you this, so many videos were made and I didn't get to see them at all because many of them were not shown on television. I saw them at Beatlefest. They had a video room and you'd get to see loads of videos there. And if you have certain friends who are collectors who would get videos from overseas, and I had a few of those, we'd get together and we'd record on VHS back in the days of videotape, and we'd watch some of these videos that in many cases we didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So there might have been one on the Midnight Special. Those kind of shows would show videos.
Sure.
But yeah, that's how I kind of found out about videos back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much the main way. I remember going to Beatlefest a lot and being in the video room and watching one video after another. It's like, I haven't seen this before. This is great,
Absolutely. Joe, how about you? What was your experience?
Well, that's largely my experience as well. And some of them I remember later on, like around 76 to 79, when they actually kind of premiered, like with Paul, the Back to the Egg TV special. There were a bunch of promo films for that. And George doing Cracker Box Palace on Saturday Night Live, for example. That I remember seeing. I was really first getting into it. I really started getting heavily into it around 76 is when I really started getting really into it. Like Ken says, a lot of things I didn't know existed, and I would see them at the Beatlefest, in the video room, and even they would even show some of them in the main ballroom on film, not just the video machine, but they would show them on there. That's the first time I ever saw. I don't want to give them all away. I'll tell you when I get to it. And then I would collect them. You go to record shows, they'd have bootlegs, and sometimes the quality was pretty atrocious on VHS tape.
Sure.
But that's how I saw a lot of them as well on there. That some of them I didn't even know they existed.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Very, very similar. I thought the same thing. So now, Tom, I have a feeling we're going to have similar answers.
Right.
But Tom, when did you first encounter these videos?
Well, I vaguely remember seeing coming up on Saturday Night Live. I just remember. I don't think it was the original airing. It might have been a rerun later on down the line, but that might have been like one of the first videos I remember seeing. And then, obviously MTV, I was an MTV junkie. And then, Paul had a lot of, early 80s videos. And, but then when I really got to see more of them was VH1 would do a weekend of like a Paul McCartney weekend, a George weekend, John. I don't think they did a Ringo one, but that's where I got to see, those 70s videos. And there were, a lot of them, for John and George and Ringo. And we know John didn't really have a lot of actual promotional videos, but I know they would morph, stuff into the actual videos. They would, use the Imagine John Lennon film, and they would, use stuff from that as videos and stuff like that. So they would incorporate that into the John Lennon weekend. But yeah, it was mainly, VH1 and MTV where, I first, saw a lot of those videos.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'd forgotten about those weekends on
Right.
VH1 and all that. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, that is another place I saw them. And before Chicago got cable, we were kind of late to the party. We didn't get it till like 85, 86, something like that. I'm not really sure why. But there were local like music video shows. And I remember seeing, I know this isn't 70s, but Nobody Told Me. The video for that and Stepping Out. They showed some of that. And then, as you said, I remember seeing No More Lonely Nights, like crazy, Take It Away,
right.
That kind of stuff. But yeah, I probably didn't encounter some of the 70s stuff until like VH1 and also when they showed Silly Love Songs. I remember seeing that. But yeah, some of the early 70s stuff, I don't remember seeing until Beatle Fest.
Right.
And being in, just like you guys, Ken and Joe were saying, in that video room. I mean, I remember planning myself in the video room and like, there was a video for Hell on Wheels,
right?
And I'd be watching it, and True Love. There was a video for True Love, and I mean, I mean, I was freaking out, because I mean, VH1 didn't show a lot of that stuff. I mean, if they didn't always dig a little deeper into that. So that's where I remember discovering a lot of these.
And then, speaking of digging deeper, then in 2007, we were fortunate enough to get, the McCartney years. And then, for the photograph, The Best of Ringo, you had an extra DVD that had, videos on it, and then there was the Dark Horse DVD that you could buy separately. They had videos on it, or I think it came with the Dark Horse CD box set, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or I think it was just
That's interesting. I don't have the Ringo extra disc.
Really?
I don't think I do either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just have the music.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. This one has the DVD with it. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to hunt that down. Okay.
When you get down to it, though, I mean, they've done great jobs on John's videos, although Yoko changed some of John's videos too at the same time. But there have been complete collections for John, and a lot on Paul, but really skimpy on George, and even the one that's on the photograph, the double disc one, where there are select videos, there's plenty that are being missed.
Absolutely.
So we really need something comprehensive when it comes to George and Ringo, and even you just said 2007, the McCartney years. Think of all the videos since then. And still so much missing from the McCartney years anyway.
Yeah.
Nice for there to be something really complete or close to complete.
Absolutely. So before we get to the individual videos, just in general, looking at the decade again, this is pre-MTV. This was still kind of the Wild West for for music video. I mean, this was the early, kind of the early days, with exception, I would say, of the John Lennon Imagine. I mean, that was closer, I would say, that, that the whole film, I mean, that was more conceptual. I mean, that was really well thought out, beautifully done. But some of the others were different. How would you characterize them in general, particularly thinking about where music video would go in the 80s and beyond? Tom, start with you. What do you think? Just in general?
I mean, some of them are cheesy. When I think of cheesy, I mean, I think of Blow Away, which is, great video, but it's still cheesy. It's cheesy, and a lot of them are kind of just, walking around in New York, or walking around in Tittenhurst, or just, or on Aaron George's place.
How about Paul? How about London Town? How about
that's cheesy. Easy? That's cheesy too. Absolutely.
I'm playing with you.
Yeah.
There are certain ones that you can tell were as cheaply done as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
And the ones that were recorded at their homes, those I would imagine were probably the cheapest too. A couple friends and get in there, and you do it at your home, and you're done. I mean, some are more creative than others, obviously too. I mean, when I think of creative, I mean, Cracker Box Palaces, I think, is pretty creative.
Yeah.
And then there's more out there too, which I don't want to give anything away here, but for the most part, I think they're fine. But specifically the 70s, there's some creative stuff in there, but then when you got into the 80s and saw what videos could really be, and then and obviously they took advantage of that as well. I mean, look what Paul did with Pipes of Peace. I mean, that was very creative and innovative video. So I think some of them really were able to take advantage of the video. George again too for Cloud 9. I think he did a great job with the videos then as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, general impressions?
Yeah, about the same as Tom, and they got better in the 80s, I think. Beginning with probably the best of all, the Coming Up video by Paul was so ingenious for the time. I didn't really count it with this show because it's really 1980.
Right.
But that was the first one, and I saw that one when it premiered. Paul made the live appearance on Saturday Night Live, and Father Guido Sarducci.
Right.
And anyway, that was a really good and choreographed and carefully calculated bit of business that he had to do to match everything up. But anyway, so they got better in the 80s. They worked with what they had. I'm still happy. I'm sure Tom too. I'm happy to have the 70s ones.
Yeah.
They're fun to see.
And if you really want to learn more about these videos, go to the Daily Beatle, and he does an excellent job describing all of each Beatles videos. I mean, he does a great thorough job, just who directed them, people in them, and how many different versions. I mean, there's 20 versions of Mary Had a Little Lamb. There's 10 versions of Mull of Kintyre.
That's about
that's an exaggeration.
Yes, true.
But he's thorough.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Ken, any thoughts on the 70s videos in general?
Well, the one word that comes to mind is simple. A lot of these videos are as simple as could be, and in some cases they're very effective that way. But it all comes down to either putting together some film footage that they had at the time reflecting their lives, or a performance video, which didn't involve too much work whatsoever, of a band on stage like Wings and just shooting them performing a song and lip syncing to a song. But there are some enjoyable ones, but it really wasn't that creative a time when it comes to making these videos. But I'm glad that they're out there. I think the videos should be considered something important. And even though in many ways I didn't know about some of these videos when they first came out, they really represent documents of the time.
Yes.
Of what they were doing, what they looked like, and speaking from strictly an American point of view, although we were very fortunate to have a tour from George in 74 and Paul in 76, we didn't have tours from Ringo and from John. We had select concerts like Bangladesh and One to One. So the only way that the Beatles could promote their music would be either through interviews, and those were special when we could either see them or hear them on the radio, or to make videos. And this is what we got. This was their way of promoting their music. And there's still some nice surprises in here, but overall they're not great works of art. There's a few here that stand out for me, but for the most part it's pretty simple stuff. But I'm glad to have them.
Yep,
Agreed.
Don't worry, I got you covered, Ollie. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
Reading some comments.
Right.
All right. And just one more word I'm going to add. We've got simple, cheap. No, I'm going to add quirky, because some of these, I kind of, they're quirky in some cases in a really charming way. I think they're just in a way that today I don't think they would do anything like that. I mean, George, I think particularly George and Ringo, I mean, their humor really come out in these videos and in a way that, there's just this kind of feeling of, oh, what the hell? We're just making this little video and let's just do something silly. And it's kind of charming to do. And sometimes it's in a way that has nothing to do with the song. And I think, today, my God, I mean, videos are so highly choreographed, and I mean, it's a production, and it certainly started going that way in the 80s. And, but there's just this sort of what the hell quality about some of these videos that I love. I mean, there's just really something charming about it. So it was, as you said, Ken, they're of their time. It's a time capsule. You're absolutely right. So, all right, well, let's talk a bit about, we'll just go with each Beatle and share a few of our favorite from each one. So let's start with Paul. He did a number of videos in the 70s, and all of you watching out there, now's your chance. You can share some of your favorites in the comments. So I naturally, let's start with Tom. Okay. What are some of your favorite Paul videos from the 70s?
Well, yeah, the three that I picked are probably my three favorites. I'll start with my third, and that's Mull of Kintyre. And obviously there's multiple versions of that, and this one is the one where we see them walking by the mall, and then you see the Campbelltown pipe band coming in and walking on the beach, which is version I really love that version, and I love the closeness of Paul and Denny and Linda as they're harmonizing with that song on there, and you see that in the video. And then at the end you see this big beach fire, and they're all around it and and singing. So that's my third. My second would be the Junior's Farm from Top of the Pops, and just a really kick-ass performance from them. I love when it gets muted into different colors, and it's not them, it's their image, but you don't see them. It's just kind of like a different color, or I don't know what that effect is called, but it's just like a really cool effect. So there would be two, and then my favorite would probably be Good Night Tonight from Paul in the 70s.
Oh.
I just love the way they're dressed up, and then I love at the end where they're having a good time and fun. They're fooling around kind of like they did in Hello Goodbye video at the end, and it's just a real fun video. And that's one of the things I like about videos. I mean, sometimes it's great when it has something to do with the song, but sometimes it can just be fun too. And then this is what I think about when I see Good Night Tonight. It's just a really fun video to a really good song. And that's what I like about it. And then if we have time, I'll tell you what my honorable mention would be. So for Paul.
All right. All good picks. Yeah, two of those came close to making my list. Yeah, Mull of Kintyre and Junior's Farm. Yeah, I mean, those are both great. One of them, I definitely agree with you. So those are all great. Okay, Ken, how about what you go next?
Okay, well, I didn't rate them. I just picked.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I had
not
I
putting
had
numbers
5
next to them now.
ready. Right. So even though I'll give you 3, they're in my top 5, whichever ones
Yes.
I give here. But I really wanted to include Maybe I'm Amazed. Lots of great still photos in that video, and it really captures that time, because it's not just the beginning of Paul's solo career. This is the beginning of Paul's new life completely.
Yep.
Because you got photos of him and Linda, and actually, quite surprisingly, because I hadn't watched this for some time, I'm surprised how much Heather is in it. Heather is all over the place, and Paul's very affectionate, kissing Heather there, and even Mary is there towards the end. And there's beautiful photos of the family on the farm in Scotland.
Yeah.
Lots of nature shots. It's a great way of presenting Paul's new life. It's not just the song itself, it's what was going on in his life at that time. And I think it really represents it extremely well.
It is a great video.
I also included silly love songs, which is kind of what you would expect from silly love songs. It's everything going on with the Wings Over the World or Wings Over America tour. On the airplane, coming out of the airplane, fans rushing to the stadium where the seating is, backstage with the band, concert footage, audience reaction, all that stuff. The three kids in the audience alone, Paul's kids, I guess, during the afternoon, they were sitting there just to see them alone. They get, special treatment there. Entering the next airport, all the stuff that happened during the tour. And I think it did that very well. I also put in Mull of Kintyre, but the one that I picked, I think is the different one from the one you did. It's all very simple. You see the landscape, which is gorgeous, of Kintyre, and Paul, Linda, and Denny together. Starts off with Paul on acoustic guitar, away from his home, and Linda's walking towards him.
Right.
Is that the same one that you?
It's the same one, but it's the same one. Right.
Yeah. And at the end, all the town people join in.
Right.
They have a fire and they're all singing
that's
along.
The same one. That's the same one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Very simple, but works for that song.
Yeah.
So there's three right there.
Yeah, it really captured the spirit of the song.
Absolutely.
I mean, it didn't need a big production.
No.
Right.
Yeah, really fit. No, very good.
Okay.
Okay, Joe, what have you got?
Well, I like a lot of Paul's 70s videos, performances, promo films. So it was kind of hard. I might surprise somebody. I'll put this at number 3 if I'm going to try to rank them. It's very simple. It's With a Little Luck, and it's a performance or a lip syncing, thing, where you have them on stage. It looks like almost like it's American Bandstand or a show like that, and they're on there, and you got colored lights, and you got kids grooving to the music while they're singing, and also people dancing. I don't think it has a very danceable track, but apparently they're enjoying it. And that's also part of like growing up, because I was just about 16 or so when that was a hit. I liked it a lot. It was a big radio hit, and reminds me of that time. So that speaks something special to me. So that's why I put that in there. All right. Gee, there's a lot I'd like to mention. I don't know which one to go with.
I know it's so hard.
Save it for later. Maybe we have extras. I'm going to go with Winter Rose Love Awake, which, is part of the Back to the Egg batch and a special. And it starts out with the winter part of it, with Linda and Paul, walking through the snow.
Yeah.
Which is very, winter-esque for the song. And then you see the castle that they were recording in, right? What is it? How do you pronounce it?
Limp.
Yeah,
Limp. Yeah.
I think it's Limp.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying it's limp.
Nice. I like that Lympne. I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's a castle, so it's got
a castle.
Set decoration there. Oh, ambiance, all the castle. And then when they get into the park, it's like a medley. Then it goes into the different sounding Love Awake, which is kind of coming out of the winter part. And then they're inside, and they see a little of the rest of the band, Wings, and it's kind of like playing around a fire, and it fits the other mood of the other piece of the song. So that's why I chose that one. And my number 1, though, out of all these, are going to make it so far 3 for 3, with not with a look, Mull of Kintyre, and the same one that Tom and Ken were talking about, but I want to give a little bit more to that. It took me a long time to really like Mull of Kintyre, and I don't know, I had it on Wings Greatest, and it seemed a little long and dirgy or something for a while, and then it was Love at First Sight when I went to the Beatle Fest, and that was one of the ones they showed in the ballroom on a projector on a big screen. and that was it. It clicked. I mean, talk about a song being sold by a promo film. That's what did it for me. To this day, I love the song now. And I just love, like Ken was describing, the camera pans over. There's nobody there. Paul's singing. Then they pan over to Paul on the guitar, sitting on the fence, I think. When in the background, way distant, Linda comes walking. I think she's got the baby with her.
She's got something in her hand, but I don't think it's a baby.
You don't see later, but I thought he was holding the baby. But anyway, she comes to the front. She becomes part of the video, and then Paul walks over to the side and meets Denny. And then, and which is appropriate because Denny really worked with him right on the song. Am I right?
Writing it.
Yep. So then they are, hey, together, hey, buddy. They get together, and then eventually culminates along the shore. And as Ken, I think it said, everybody's all together. I heard that the end of it is really on the Mulligan Tire with the all together. But that the actual footage, I was looking up information that was on the Saddle Estate, the of them, the little house. That was at the beginning is not Mulligan Tire.
Well, but if I was Paul, you wouldn't want to be in your own home, so because then people would know where you live.
Yeah, that's true. That wouldn't be good.
Wow. So I mean, there were a few others, but those are the ones I came up with for this exercise.
That's it. Yeah, With a Little Luck was a finalist for me too, because I've always liked that too,
really?
the dancing and there's just something really charming about it. I don't know, what it is. It's cute. Exactly. It's cute. I agree with the kids dancing. And I agree.
For some people, it might be a little too cute.
Yeah, I don't know, but but I agree. There's something about it that's all good choices. I've got a couple on my list that you guys have already mentioned. One of them is sort of a sentimental favorite because it's one that I remember seeing at Beatle Fest many years ago, and I like it because it is so cheap and simple, and there's just something so charming about it. For Helen Wheels, I just love at the beginning when they just open this this banner that looked like their the flag that looked like their kids could have drawn it, and then just the performance, and then and then in the middle when the Helen Wheels that part comes and they're all in the car and Linda's back waving and everything. It just, to me, it captures early Wings, that when they were before, and I mean, I know this is the Band on the Run era, but before they got super big and they were playing arenas. I mean, this is I don't know, just a little earlier, natural, almost like they looked in Wildlife or something. I mean, just a little in the simpler time, and it's just a straightforward performance, but just with these hand painted backgrounds, and it's just all energy, and I just always thought it was fun. Just a really, really simple, could have been shot in someone's basement, but that's what I like about it. It's just fun. And I just remember sitting there thinking wow, I love this song, and I had no idea there was a video to this. So that's one of my favorites, just for sheer, simple charm. Silly Love Songs, I mean, my number 2, because I love seeing that behind the scenes footage. From the tour. I mean, that was just so great seeing, behind the scenes, Paul acting goofy and Linda Cameron seeing, Jimmy McCollum and all the, the band members, Denny Lane, and it was just really exciting, for seeing it, just seeing the chemistry of the band, or seeing them on stage, and as you said, Ken, getting on and off the plane and sleeping on the plane, and
nice to see the horn players too,
and the horn players, exactly. Yeah. I mean, just seeing all this behind the scenes. Don't worry, Tom, I'm not going to say anything.
How involved they were as a family too.
Exactly. I mean, it was just great, behind the scenes stuff that you just didn't see a lot. So and it was just great to have that to go along with the song, and then number 1, Good Night Tonight. I just love it's just such a stylish video. It just has such style to it, and it matches the song perfectly. I mean, it just, because that song has such sort of style to it, and it has. I don't know. There's just, I mean, even though it was at the time thought of as close as Paul came to disco, although it really wasn't a straightforward, but it really I like that kind of retro film that they use, the colors they used, and then, as you said, Tom, in the middle when they suddenly switched to them in modern dress, they were kind of going nuts, and Paul and the bongos and everything. It was just really fun stuff. Fun stuff. So yeah, that I think is my all-time.
That
favorite.
one I remember in real time, also.
Really
first out, of course.
Very cool.
So love it, love it. All right, so those are some of our favorite Paul ones, and so thank you, Ollie. Solely Love Songs, yes, Kit. Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta thank a lot of people when the time comes, if I remember.
Right.
Yeah, really got a lot of just some great ones. So okay, let's move on. Let's move on to George. And let's see. Let's start with Joe this time.
No, thanks.
Try to hold back your enthusiasm there.
Well, George is. I'll say one thing. That leads. George doesn't seem very enthusiastic in some of those videos, like Faster, which I'm not thinking. He just sits there and he's looks like he's dying in the guitar. I don't know why, but anyway, I went first with Ding Dong Ding Dong. It's not, it's fun. You got George playing different guitars. I think they kind of bounce back and forth and changes clothes through the video. I think at one point he's not that I care. I think he's isn't he without anything at one point? If I remember, he's got the guitar.
He's covering himself.
He's wearing a guitar. That's all he's wearing.
Sure.
But that aside, I like when he's wearing a collarless Beatles suit and Pepper uniform, which of course he would do later on for when we was Fab in the 80s. But it's very nostalgic, and it's good to see. I got that feeling out of it when I watch it, to see George like that, so that was good. And of course, to me, it's almost obvious some of these. This song I picked also, which I've still never been wild about the song itself, but I do like the promo film. It's a parody of the My Sweet Lord lawsuit in the courtroom, and you got a lot of guests in there. A lot of people, after a while, George is trying to plead his case about this song, and how it's not really a ripoff or whatever, and this and that. Doesn't infringe on anyone's copyright. And then all hell breaks loose by the end. And I think I spot Harry Nilsson in there, possibly as a cop.
You're Ron Wood and Eric Idle and Drag.
Ron Wood,
I don't know if Harry Nilsson's in there. The guy who's dragging
I thought it was.
George
You
into
just
the
ruined
courtroom.
my feeling. Now I can't enjoy it anymore.
Sorry.
I don't know if it's
You
him.
crushed his dreams, Ken.
But and then finally, number one for me of the 70s probably got to be Cracker Box Palace. I love that song, and I remember that very clearly, seeing that on Saturday Night Live, and it's just such a magic wonderland kind of event to me, because he's doing it in his estate, really, and there's a lot of silliness there with Monty Python people involved, Eric Idle.
They're supposedly all in it.
And isn't Neil Innes the
Neil
one?
Innes is the one. He's pushing the cart at the beginning.
Yeah.
And he's in it again. He's also in it again. That when you watch it, really closely, you'll see him again in there.
And to see George like that again, when he's really having fun and not so like tense and tight, and just like jumping out of the baby carriage and doing all kinds of crazy things. So there's even a real quick shot of Olivia, I believe.
She's in the courtroom. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
She's in the
bedroom.
of the bed.
Yeah.
She's the
Yeah.
dominatrix,
I think. I'm sorry I said it. That's what it is.
That's all
It's a
right.
very,
We're all adults
very
here.
uncomfortable looking Olivia in the video.
But it was, tongue in cheek. And
Right.
yeah, so that's my favorite of George's.
Very good. All good picks for sure. Ken, how about you?
Well, George is probably the easiest because he's had the fewest videos, really.
Yep.
It's kind of shocking early on. I don't think he made videos until Ding Dong Ding Dong. They just made a video for My Sweet Lord, and people are questioning, why is there a video now for My Sweet Lord? Well, because they didn't make a video for the song, But I'm going to go with the same three that Joe said, because I do like Ding Dong Ding Dong. I like the fact that he's poking fun at the past with his Beatle uniforms, the Sgt. Pepper one, the collarless suit. He had a really awful looking wig that he was wearing in there, but I liked all the other clothes that he wore, the more modern stuff, which I think he looked far more natural in. Looked kind of funny wearing the Beatles stuff at that point. But just the fact that he's addressing it and having fun with it. I like Ding Dong Ding Dong for that reason. This song I love a lot. And I kind of like what you guys are saying. To this day, as someone who still watches Saturday Night Live, my favorite episode ever was when George Harrison was in it. Not just because of George, but also because Paul Simon was in it too.
Yeah.
And the whole opening sketch when he comes out as a turkey for Thanksgiving, which was hysterical, singing Still Crazy after all these years, and then performing the two songs with George live, but we did see both this song and Cracker Box Palace as videos that night, and I remember it like it happened yesterday. And this song is such a great video, seeing George in the courtroom making his case, holding up the letter E. This song is in E. Holding up, I guess, the Bible, that he's telling the truth. And also I love just the line that, the song has nothing bright about it because the publishing company that owned He's So Fine was Bright Publishing, and I don't know if everybody from Monty Python were in both those videos for this song and Cracker Box Palace, but Jim Keltner is the judge in this song.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. And
it's
Ron
perfect
Wood
because he's got the
gavel.
Is that the
yeah.
There you go.
Again, it's a fascinating thing about George, because there are times when he gets preachy and moody and grumpy, and then there's this completely other side of him that has a wacky, warped sense of humor that embraces Monty Python and shows it. And I think that the public tends to like when George is kind of light like this and does show his sense of humor with this song. And Cracker Box Palace, I think, was masterfully done. Eric Idle directed it. And it's just, I love all the different characters on the grounds of the Henley estate, whether they're monks or whatever you call them, all these wacky costumes, it was just done so well, and the whole it's true bit from George. And it was brilliant, that whole video.
Agreed. So, absolutely. Tom, what are your picks?
Well, it's we're 3 for 3. These are I think these three are his best videos from the 70s. Absolutely. Joe said about Ding Dong Ding Dong, he's playing on each edit, you see him strumming a different guitar, and with all the different outfits that he's got on is hilarious. And it's just, again, another fun video to a fun song. Really, it's a good time. Cracker Box Palace, again, just a lot, again, another fun and creative, dressing up. And I love the bit where they go to a Mr. Greif and he's on the chair, and then they pan on to a couple other people really quick. And the last one, I think, is Eric Idle. If you look real hard, you'll see Eric Idle sitting there. So I think that was his one appearance in the video. But again, really fun. creative video. I love Neil Ennis in that, pushing on George there at the beginning, really hysterical. So you really get, George's sense of humor in these videos, which again, we talked about George's, in the past, his sense of humor. But I'm going on the record and saying that the best video from the 70s from all four of them is this song. This is the perfect video for the song. I mean, you couldn't get a better video for a song than this, I think, because it's telling the story as well as the song is. It's just like merged together. I mean, it's just like a perfect blend of seeing him state his case, like you guys said. And there's this also a funny moment where he goes, "My experts tells me it's okay," and they're panning off to him, and one of the guys have like vampire teeth. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but and it's just, again, it's making fun of the situation. He's having a joke on himself in a way, it's great. I love Keltner as the judge. He's banging on the desk. What's it called again, Ken? The
gavel.
The gavel, yeah. And he's almost kind of like going with the
who's the police officer that's got the billy club,
yeah.
and he's like dancing with it? Who's that?
Right.
Who is that?
I don't know who that is.
Was.
But you can almost write a book about this video, because I mean, there's just so much going on with this. And then, like I said, Eric Idle and Ron Wood, dressed in drag in there is hilarious. I love the beginning when George is handcuffed to the security guard, and he's dragging him to
dragged in.
Right,
that's cool.
Yeah, but this is my absolute favorite video of any of them from the 70s. I just think this is just a rocking good time and a perfect video for that song.
Wow. Bold statement, sir.
Yes.
Oh, it is. It is a great video.
Right.
It is great. Well, as for my picks, I agree definitely with Cracker Box Palace and Ding Dong. I love those two, and I love how and in all these cases, I mean that George, is not afraid to look silly and make fun of himself. I just love that. I mean, like even at the beginning of Ding Dong when he does that huge trip in the middle of the forest. I mean, even things like, and he left it in. I mean that's just great stuff. And putting on the Beatles costumes, as you guys talked about with Cracker Box Palace. I mean that huge grin at the beginning when he's in the. I mean he just he's just having a blast, and it's right out of the whole thing, and this song too as well. I mean this he's in a Monty Python skit, and he's just having the time of his life. But I'm going to throw in a different video for my third pick, and I don't care, Tom. You said it was cheesy in the beginning, and I don't care.
I know where you're going.
Blow Away. I like Blow Away, and somebody else in the comments mentioned it too.
Yeah, it's not that bad, Tom.
Yeah, I think it's cute. I mean, it kind of fits it fits the uplifting kind of mood of the song, and it's I mean, as I said, it's silly. I know it is, but it's cute. Right. I mean, it fits it, as I said, it just
looks
fits
a little
the
like
optimism.
You know what it does? It puts a smile on your face.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And it sort of fits that,
It's a cheap video, and it's intentionally cheap.
Yes.
And George is going with it.
Right.
And the thing that's so weird about it is seeing him, riding a duck, a plastic duck,
with a straight face too.
Yes,
but he is like posing with the guitar a little bit.
Yeah.
At one point. I like that. He's having a little fun with it.
Not the best hairdo though.
No.
That's why he looks like the guy. Well, it reminds me of John Oates.
Right.
Yeah.
The mustache and everything. Yeah.
Okay, maybe not his best hair look.
Right.
But
it's a curly hair. The mustache I'm thinking looks like the other guy.
But then Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead. We're all over the place. I'm surprised. I thought somebody was going to pick True Love because that's really a crazy video too.
That's an honorable mention for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Not many other ones to pick.
And he's so damn skinny. He looks really
that
he can still fit in his Sergeant Pepper outfit and
no problem
outfit. I mean, it's just
just amazing.
Good metabolism.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. There you go. But that's what I enjoy about his videos, though, for the most part. That here he was, he had this reputation for being, serious Beatle, and and grouch. So grouch and spiritual. I mean, he was not afraid to look silly and make fun of himself in these videos, and I love that. I mean, that was great. Okay, on to Ringo. And it was really interesting, going back when researching this, I'm like, he did a lot of videos. I mean, he did a bit more than I remembered. I mean, it was really interesting.
Yeah, I think Ringo has the most enjoyable.
Yeah, but then
videos
a lot
for
of them were a few of them never really got released anywhere.
True.
So I mean, they're there, and unfortunately, they've been leaked for us to see.
Yep. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Did you say unfortunately or fortunately?
I did say fortunately.
Oh, I thought you said unfortunately.
You better say fortunately.
Like, damn.
No, some of those that hadn't seen the light of day until now, I mean, are actually kind of funny.
Okay. I saw it like unfortunately.
I just wonder, a lot of his late 70s stuff got no airplay here.
Exactly.
Whatsoever. But I don't know about like Europe, for example, if it was played anywhere.
Yeah. So, all right, Ken, let's start with you this time. What are your Ringo picks?
I did want to go with Sentimental Journey. It's a bit corny, but it fits the song.
Yep.
I mean, he's doing all these standards, and you see him in a nightclub. It's one called Talk of the Town. He's on stage with a suit, and he's got this pink bow tie, and there's a troupe of dancers behind him, and he's singing the song, and he looks great. He's got an orchestra behind him. It's exactly what you would kind of expect for that particular song. It's a perfect video for that. I like it. It's not groundbreaking in any way, but it just fits the song. It really works for that particular song. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I saw it on the Ed Sullivan Show when it premiered.
Wow.
I think.
Oh, that's cool.
I have to put Back Off Boogaloo in there. You see Ringo with like a Frankenstein character wandering through the grounds at his home at Tittenhurst. And they're eventually meeting up, and they become friends, and they share a meal together. It's like they're having a picnic, and there's
flowers.
This one, there's a weird moment where there's a box that they open up, and they see the film footage from King Kong with Fay Wray. I mean, what is that? I don't understand why that's in there, but hey. And that's about it. It's a weird video, but it works. It's fun. Also, I did like, I have to put Only You in there, which was filmed in LA at the Capitol Records, the Tower building. On top of the tower, you see a UFO. Landing on top of the building, and you see Ringo and Harry Nilsson together. Harry's just sitting in a chair reading a newspaper while Ringo's singing the song, and Ringo's got a star on his outfit, and it's a cool video. I love the shades that Ringo was wearing there with stars in it. So it's a simple idea, and I liked it. I think it worked for that.
I agree. Yep. So and I love Harry Nilsson just sitting there reading the paper like this is totally normal, and
or smoking a cigarette,
Yeah, just kind of like, yeah, sure, whatever. Tom, how about you?
Well, yeah, it's funny because he does have more videos than what you expect, and then unfortunately some of these didn't get aired at any point in time, according to what the Daily Beatle had talked about. So, fortunately, make sure I say that we do have these songs now. Or these videos now, as I should say, to go back and either laugh or appreciate, and one that wasn't released that I just found a couple years ago was the video for the song Tonight. Which I think is very nice video, and then it features his girlfriend Nancy Andrews, which you really don't see a lot of. Well, there's photos out there obviously, but you don't see a lot of video of them together. So that's nice for that, and it's a very nice sweet moment where you see them dancing and then kind of cuddling on a couch in there. And plus, I love the song Tonight. I think he did a great job with that. So it's just a nice moment video with him and his girlfriend at the time. I gotta admit that though I'm not the biggest fan of Back Off Boogaloo, this video is hilarious. It's just a great time video. I love I mean, the Frankenstein is hilarious because the makeup is just cheesy. It's bad, but it works, and it just puts a smile on my face. And like you said, Ken, you get the moment of King Kong in there. But I love it when they're sitting there eating the pancake, or they're having the picnic, and you see the Frankenstein eat the chicken, and then he just throws it up in the air, and it just goes flying. So yeah, but yeah, I love the beginning where they're separate and they're looking for each other, and then they finally embrace, see each other, and they embrace. So it's just
nothing to do with the song.
Nothing. And when you would think he would be running from Frankenstein, meaning back off Boogaloo, meaning but obviously it's the opposite. But to make another bold statement, my third favorite video from the 70s would be Only You, from these guys. This is just, again, a great video, not really having much to do with the song, but I got a fear of heights, I tell you. So that's watching that video. When my wife and I, we were in Rome, and you're able to go all the way up to the top of the Vatican, and we did that. And this was the first time I ever been that high in my life. And my wife said I turned into a ghost. I was so white, I almost passed out. So that watching this video, whenever I watch that video, kind of reminds me of that, and I get a little lightheaded. But it's just so great. Harry is just, it's just so comical there. He's got a robe on, he's just sitting in his little lawn chair, reading the paper. It's just great. And then, I love it when they pan out and then you see the album cover on top of the building, at the end, towards the end. I love the saucer at the beginning going towards the top of the building. It's a perfect video. It's great.
And it's really inspired by the day the Earth stood still, really.
Right.
Oh, right.
Like
the cover, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And Ringo supposedly likes horror or science fiction. Even John said that on the Dick Cavett show, and Dick Cavett asked about Ringo. He said, he loves science fiction. He says. So I'm wondering if Ringo has an affinity for that with Frankenstein and all that.
Yeah, could be.
Which he later used in Rack My Brain with all the different, horror
monsters,
characters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
Very true. There you go. Mystery solved. Absolutely. All right, Joe. What are your favorite Ringo videos?
Well, you said mystery solved, and I'm going to try to bring something else to the table for Back Off Boogaloo video or promo film, because I like that one a lot too. But I'll try to find things to say. Mystery solved. Who's playing the Frankenstein monster in that?
That's a good question.
I looked it up and I couldn't find it.
Yeah. And I couldn't find
somehow
it
I think so, and I think I'd heard it at one point, but I don't recall it who it was. But well, first of all, I love Ringo's look in there. That's one of my favorite looks for Ringo, when he's kind of like very dressed in black, and he's got the longer black beard. And the hair. I just like that look. And he's wearing a button at the beginning that says "Back to Mono."
Yeah.
Which I like that. And it looks like they're having, they look, the song's playing, got nothing to do with anything what they're doing in the video. But it looks like, where are you, my love? Because then they meet, they're like, oh, I'm so happy to see they start dancing together. And I think they're like, looks like at one point they're walking to the altar almost. They're walking arm in arm somewhere or something, with flowers or something. But anyway, beautiful. Tom mentioned they're eating the chicken, and I've always noted, I notice silly things like this. When he's eating the monsters, eating the chicken leg, as he throws it away, and then way in the back in the frame, it's still in the frame.
So you see it.
It's little things like that.
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Yeah, I got to watch that again.
Something had to be done right because we're laughing at it.
Right.
All right. So now I got a couple of nobodies. I have like 6 videos here, so I'm gonna go the 3 first. The other one is You Don't Know Me at All, which I think I first saw at the fest, again, as part of that package that they would show on the ballroom screen with the projector. And it's him in France, I think, from when I looked up, in his house in France, around there in that area. And the whole joke of it is, it's not one of my favorite songs off that album, but I love in the video how he's like, talking about, you say you know me, but you don't know me at all. And he takes his hat off and he's bald. And his eyebrows are not there either. I think he shaved his eyebrows. So the whole idea is like, it's not him at all. It's not his image. It's not the Beatles. It's not Ringo with the beard or He has a little stuff. Well, maybe not.
Right.
I can't remember. I haven't seen it in a long time. But yeah, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek video. I like that part about it. And then Ali Perry, who keeps mentioning he wants somebody to say "drowning in the sea of love," which is always my. And we hate that term, guilty pleasure, don't we? Hate using
I
that.
do.
But yeah, I'm always defending the song. I always go through the same spiel. Ringo, I respect you, my man. You're an inspiration to so many people for getting sober from 1988 to now. What a job! And look how great he looks. He looks better now than he did when he was 40. You know,
Yeah, he looks
arguably. But at this time, he still was drinking, and he's drinking, and that's what like the whole song is like him. You know, he's drowning his sorrows. You see a close up of a
lot of the close up of the booze
drinks.
Champagne glass is very prominent in there with the bubbles going, and he looks like he's just doing me another drink. I can't, he's like depressed and everything, and it just fits the mood of the song. And
it's a good video.
Yeah,
it's a good
all
video.
over the place. Different shots of they've got some pretty girls there, and here and there. Yeah, so I like that. And those are my three. I'm looking at some other, at least one other one I wanted to mention, but we'll do that as an honorable mention.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yep. But yeah, I almost picked that one that you mentioned. Then I was like, oh, I don't know if I should. But because, yeah, it's a good video on its own. I mean, but, when you know the background, of course, you're like, should I pick this? I don't know. But yeah, Drowning is, I mean, it fits the song. I mean, that
perfect.
video.
Mark Zutkoff says Drowning in a Sea of Alcohol.
Yeah.
No, it's true back then. Ringo's the first one to admit it.
Exactly. And
kudos to him. This is just water, folks.
Yeah, right. And he beat it. Good, awesome for him. Well, as for my picks, I picked the exact same ones Ken did. Yeah, Sentimental Journey fits the song perfectly, and I believe Neil Aspinall directed it. I think I read that. Yeah,
I think in the Daily Beetle they say that.
Yep.
Well, we're plugging them a lot tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, really. Yeah, no kidding. Back Off Boogaloo, hilarious, as we've all said. I think I may have seen that for the first time at the fest. And the first time I saw it, my initial reaction was just, what? Because it has nothing to do with the song, but hilarious. And as we've talked about, Only You, just hysterical. I mean, Ringo's great, but Harry Nilsson also steals the show. I mean, he is hilarious in that, and how he kept a straight face filming that.
Don't forget the arrow through Ringo's head.
And exactly, the arrow through Ringo's head. Right. I mean, how Harry Nilsson just sat there in the lawn chair. I don't know. I mean, it's just it's hysterical. Again, has nothing to do with the song, but it's Ringo. It's his humor, and I think those videos really capture it. So fantastic. But other videos mentioned here are fantastic too. So all right, final one here is John Lennon. Now, this was also kind of tricky because unfortunately, he didn't get to make as many videos, but of course the Imagine film, as we mentioned before, was an incredible feat. Let's see. Well, maybe I'll go first this time, and then we'll go around. These are not in any particular order, but I loved Slippin' and Slide. I remember seeing that at the fest vividly when I saw it the first time, and I just was so mesmerized by it. Just a simple performance. I don't know, was that at the Hit Factory? Does anyone know where that was?
So.
Yeah, I thought so. That was filmed there, and I mean, just that close up of his
Record
face.
Plant, maybe?
Or was it Record Plant? Oh, it was Record Plant. Okay.
Yeah.
And just that close up of him singing it, and in the band, it was the close up of I remember the piano player, the horn section, everything, and it was just so intense. But he also, at times, you could tell he was having fun singing this, and it's one of my favorite tracks off the Rock and Roll album too. That's absolutely one of my favorites. So I just loved. I mean, it was very simple, but really showed just him and his best playing old time rock. So, so that's one of my favorites. And this was interesting. I discovered this fairly recently. The original video for Whatever Gets You Through the Night.
Yep.
And I've seen the footage before, but it's been used in other videos. But I saw, yeah, exactly.
It's now in Mind Games.
Yeah, it's now in Mind Games. But I saw the and it's unfortunately it's so short. I wish it were longer.
I think it's less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, because I love it. Just him, and he's mouthing the lyrics so briefly. I mean, just the title phrase and "oh no," I think that's it. But it's just so great to see him, walking down the streets of New York, interacting with people, dancing around. And I think that maybe this footage also was maybe used in Nobody Told Me. I mean, there may have been some, as I know I've seen some of that footage other places too. I'm not sure.
So much of the videos from the Double Fantasy and Milk and Honey, what became singles, they use from the same sources. So much of it all becomes a blur because they're using some of the same ones over and over, and it's difficult to tell.
Exactly.
If you don't have the audio, you may not know which video it's for.
Exactly, because you watch this and I mean, Mind Games, you've definitely seen this stuff, but you watch it and like, I know I've seen these little bits other places of him dancing and but it's just so fun to see him just interacting with people, walking just walking around the streets of New York. Very simple, but just really great. Just wish it were longer. And finally, I mean, you can't skip Imagine. I mean, that has become such an iconic video, and that's another case of simple, I mean, but artfully simple. I mean, just in that white room with, Yoko opening the windows and him just at that white piano singing. Simple but effective.
I'm glad that exists. I mean, because it's his most, I guess, like, iconic song in a way for the ages, and I'm glad they have a nice little piece of film for that.
Exactly, and I can't really think of anything that they could have done more. Because that song doesn't call for any kind of big production. I mean, it really doesn't. And just that symbolism of, opening the room up and letting the light in. I mean, what else could you do? That they nailed it. I mean, absolutely nailed it. So those are my three choices. So okay, Tom, how about you? Let's start with you.
All right, thank you, Kit. I agree with you on the Whatever Gets You Through the Night. That's the original version. It's just so cool to see John being able to walk around. I would imagine this would have been a big relief for him to be able to just do this. To finally be able to just wander and not get manhandled by 5,000 girls or or guys or whatever, but it's a lot of fun. It is. I'm just seeing him, and then minding the words as well to the Whatever Gets You Through the Night part. So I mean, it's fun for that. Instant Karma from Top of the Pops. Now there's a bunch of versions of these two, but I just love when they're just showing them the band version, and I think John's wearing a blue denim outfit in this one, or the blue denim jacket, and I do like what Yoko's doing off to the side, holding up cards and with the words on them and everything, and I just love the image of him and the band on that. But then again, I think his best, I think the most one that will stand the test of time or whatever, that Imagine video is very powerful. I love it how it just starts off at dark, and you see the two walking through the woods and heading towards their home, and then it's a dark room, and then like you said, the music's playing, and then Yoko's opening up the I don't know what you would call those. It's not the window, but it's just the whatever the
like blocking the shutters or
whatever. There you go. The shutters. There you go. And and then at that moment, it's just like perfectly bright in there, and it's so moving and powerful, that video. And it's another perfect video. So I'm going with those three.
Excellent. Excellent. Yep. Joe, how about you?
Well, first, no particular order, I guess. Instant Karma, yeah, from Top of the Pops, which is now it's kind of like that's the video for Instant Karma.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the way John looks. I love the way he's getting into it and playing the keyboard and rocking. And I like Klaus Vormann. There's some shots in certain ones where he's really grooving to the bass, and he's like his eyes are like locked on with John's. John's like the way the camera pans over at one point. I really love the way he's grooving to that. So that's a lot of fun. And sadly, of course, I got to mention, of course, we don't have much John stuff.
Right.
But I have to give thanks to John Tobacco in the comment section because, and I would have caught this when you said Slippin' and Sliding Kid because how I didn't think of those two performances. So I actually changed it. I'm gonna cheat here. I had imagined, but it was so common. I crossed it up because now if I would have thought of it, sometimes you just go blank. How did I not remember those? Slipping and Sliding, and he does Stand By Me, which is the one that I actually picking from the old Gray Whistle Test performance. They showed those films on there. I don't know. I just like the way he gets into his old rock and roll favorite. Both of them are great. I'm cheating there. Both of them. You don't have much. That you can do. But I also in the cheating vein. I picked the Whatever Gets You Through the Night. Probably that would be my number one, but my true number one is The Way It Exists Now, is Mind Games. I like the song Mind Games better. It wasn't made in the 70s, but it utilizes a lot of that footage and probably a lot more of it. Yeah, a lot more of it. It's a much better video.
Yeah,
That's my favorite John video, period. It's from Central Park and John interacting with the fans and signing a few autographs with a pen and just everything that he's doing in there makes me wish I had been in the park that day when I was like 12 or something like that. That would have been so cool. And that makes me feel really good. That's my favorite John video. And it was, a lot of Whatever Gets You Through the Night originally, but you don't have John mouthing the words, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
To Whatever Gets You Through the Night.
Yep.
So there we go. Those are mine.
All right. Great picks. Great picks all. All right, Ken.
This is gonna sound like this is gonna sound like an echo. Because so much of what you guys said, it's hard to elaborate further. You have to put Imagine in there. It's so iconic the way that it is. It's like a piece of poetry for all the reasons that you mentioned, wandering through the woods at the very beginning and then Yoko opening up the shutters, letting the light in, seeing the two of them at the piano at the very end. So perfect, that pose. There's you couldn't have done a better job for that song.
Let me just interject. You know what though, Ken, and everybody else, at the end, you got a little bit at the end when they look at each other and you hear the birds, and then John just kind of like they break character from it, and John's like, there's like a little funny to break the seriousness from it.
Yeah, it was cute. It was cute.
Okay, that's that had to be one of them. I also have to put Instant Karma in there, but there were two different videos for Instant Karma. There was one where Yoko was knitting during the performance, but the one that everybody points to now is the one where she's holding up cards.
Right.
And I love it. One thing I don't understand, because if you go on YouTube now, you're going to have the new video all cleaned up and it's exactly as the record. But there's also a video from the same one where she's holding up the cards, but it's a different vocal from John.
Yeah.
From what I understand, that I read it somewhere that Jeff Emmerich had prepared a special mix for Top of the Pops, and there were two vocal tracks that John made for Instant Karma, but Jeff removed one of them, so maybe John could sing along with the other track. So you can find it on YouTube, the other vocal take, but it's just great to have a video in there with Klaus Vormann, like you said, Joe. Alan White's in there, a crowd behind them. It's such a great song, and I love it for those reasons. And I have to also say that the video that used to be Whatever Gets You Through the Night, What Is Now the Mind Games. That is my favorite solo Beatle video of the 70s period.
Oh, wow.
Because kind of like what Joe said, this is John being a New Yorker and loving being a New Yorker. And I love how it starts, how he's got the black coat and the black hat and the feather in the hat, and he's walking with all the fans.
It looks great.
And he's signing an autograph from one of them. And I especially love when he goes to that, it looks like a hot dog stand. He's got these Italian ices there, and he's kind of like being a magician with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he's pointing to the pretzels, the hot pretzels, which we all love if we go to New York City to have hot pretzels. And doing that, and you were pointing out when John is dancing on stage, that's from an amphitheater in Central Park.
Oh,
and that's also that was used in other videos, I'm sure.
Yes,
and
I've
also
seen
being
that.
there was a zoo that used to be in Central Park, and you can see where John is feeding.
He's feeding the elephants, right? With
Yeah,
kids.
So there's all those elements in there, and also going to see Sergeant Pepper, the show.
Sergeant Pepper.
He's holding up the sign for the street, Sergeant Pepper Way.
Yeah,
but he actually went to the premiere of that show, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band on the Road. So it's all about John being a New Yorker and loving it. You know, so how can you not love that?
There's some good alternate shots in there, and he's tipping his hat at the end. He's walking away, and he's like going like this. He's tipping his hat.
Great shot.
Oh man, you know,
yeah,
what could have
really.
been?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, there are just some great, great videos. Even though, as we said, maybe they were low budget, maybe they weren't as slick as some of the 80s and beyond, but they had their own their own charms. So we've got a little time left, so we can mention some a few runners ups we may have had for different ones. So so Joe, why don't you had some runners ups that
let me pick let me go quick. Well, for Paul, Old Siam, sir, I have no problem with performances, straight performances. I could name a lot of them. I mean, I love I've Had Enough, when they rock out to that. But Old Siam, sir, just a good rock performance. I love that song. Like maybe my favorite off Back to the Egg. I think Paul's in a t-shirt in that. I think a white t-shirt. I think he is. And Linda has. They're all goofing around while they're playing. They're also mugging for the camera. And Linda's doing some funny
Linda's doing some back and forth.
I love that. I love that
with her hair.
Yeah,
I love a lot of that. And so that's what I have for Paul. I've never minded either the London Town video with Victor Spinetti. Making a guest appearance. It's it's cheap. It's talk about cheap, right? What kind of sets are those? But it's fun. I'm gonna go I think Ringo really. Let me have my notes here. I like the video for Hey Baby. Again, you got Ringo, he's bald, but he's wearing, I think, a top hat or something for the most part, maybe a tux. And, you got this staircase full of like these women, gorgeous women just standing there and kind of bopping to the music. And Ringo's like walking up the stairs. He's addressing each one of them, hey, baby, would you be my girl? And he goes to the next one, hey, baby, really like schmaltzy kind of thing. That should have made my top three. But, there you have it.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Ken, any runner-ups you want to mention?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Slippin' and Slidin'. I wanted to say that because it's like you said, it's one of my favorite songs from rock and roll. What I like about that video is that you get to see the other musicians in the studio with John, including the piano player when his part comes up. And then at the very end, John does his ad lib. I've been doing this for 100 years.
Yeah. That's great.
I love that.
Really funny.
But to contrast that, I love the video for Stand By Me. It's interesting because it's a completely vocal take, but at the same time, you don't see anybody else in the studio with him. It's just up close with John. I think you actually see the piano player in the background, but you don't see him up close at all. And that's it. But it's still interesting because it's a different vocal take.
Yeah.
And there's still that great point, like you said, with Slipping and Sliding, where he says, I'd like to say hi to all the folks in England. How you doing, folks?
Right.
Here I am in New York singing to you.
And he says hello, Julian.
What a bad
too.
guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
For Paul, I also did say goodnight tonight for the reasons that you mentioned. I found it really interesting that here's a song that's a dance song. I never called it disco, but I wouldn't associate it with dressing up like you're in the 1920s. But it looks so cool.
It works.
It does work, and everybody's hair is brushed back, you know.
Yes.
To contrast that with dressing as they did then, it's a very interesting idea. And like you guys said, Paul playing the congas a lot. I love all that. That's a favorite of mine. I do like a lot of the later 70s Ringo ones. They're all very simple. You know, like the ones you mentioned tonight, You Don't Know Me at All. The one thing about You Don't Know Me at All, it's all driven around him being bald. That's the whole idea. Shocking everybody that he shaved his head.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I like Power to the People a lot too. I think it was just the perfect video for that, with all the different marches in the street, seeing John and Yoko on the street, John with the bullhorn. That's kind of an iconic, you know, look and memory of John. Not too much extra to say about George, although True Love I liked a lot. It is a very corny video, and it's got George kind of like Paul dressing up from the early days, like the 20s or 30s. He's got that, what do you call that kind of mustache that goes, you know, with the curl? Yeah, that one. And Neil Innes is actually in that video because he plays the guardian angel. There's a line in the song.
Oh yeah.
Guardian angel.
You and I have a guardian angel. And actually George's girlfriend, who's in the boat with him, winds up going with the angel and kissing him. And at the very end, George is alone.
Yeah, that's right.
So for a very quick plug here, several years ago, I had the thrill and honor of interviewing Neil Innes. And the interview is on my website. And he talks about all these videos, Cracker Box Palace and True Love. And he was a hoot. He had such a great sense of humor. If anybody wants to listen to that, you go to, on my website, interviews page 4. It's about an hour-long interview. Lots to talk about the Ruddles, as you would imagine. But, you know, working with George on True Love and Cracker Box Palace.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Very nice. All right, Tom, any honorable mentions?
Yeah, oh, definitely, absolutely. You know, for the Stand By Me, for like what Ken said, just that up closeness of John. I mean, I just really think that's really powerful. I like that the image of him is great. You know, Joe, you mentioned about not really caring for Faster, but I do kind of like it. I like the fact that, you know, when you see George in the back and you pan up and you see that as Jackie Stewart as a chauffeur, I think that's kind of comical. You know, and I love all the images. I'm not the biggest car racing fan, but I do think some of that, you know, the Formula One stuff is pretty cool to see. I did With a Little Luck. I think, you know, again, it's kind of cheesy, but it's just so cool seeing these people of all ages, you know, dancing to this song. It's just a really cool image. Plus, that was the first appearance of Steve Holley in a video for Paul.
Even though he's not on the song.
Exactly. Even though he's not on the song. Yeah. And then for Ringo, I picked I'll Still Love You, which again is, you know, he's bald throughout the whole thing, but I like it because of the kind of artistic approach that it took. Whereas with some of the video, it's kind of like a layered video where you see one image on top of another image. You know, the one main image is, you know, a girl playing with her hair, you know, long blonde hair, and then you see Ringo in the background just walking on the grounds of the hotel or wherever it is that he was. I think it was filmed in Germany, if I'm not mistaken. So I like it for this artistic approach that it tried to take on this one. So, and plus, you know, I like that song as well. So.
Very nice. All right, and for me, just quickly, for John, I'd say Stand By Me. I was really torn between Slip and Slide and Stand By Me, but Stand By Me was definitely the runner up. For Ringo, I feel I can say it now since Joe made it okay. Drowning in the Sea of Love. I did like that. I do like that video.
Yeah.
So, all right, I will come forward with it now. And this song for George, for sure. That was a tough call, but definitely runner up. For Paul, I like the video for Spin It On.
Yes.
That is fun.
That's a riot.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, it's in the airplane hangar and all in the bomber jackets. And if I may be a total girl for 1 second, Paul looks really hot in that video. He's staring intensely at the camera in that bomber jacket. I like it. I'm down with it. So, and it's just a great song. And then when showing all the different band members spinning around, I mean, it's fun. It's a fun video. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of my runner-ups. So a lot of videos to choose from, and they all have their own, charms and strengths, and there were some that, not so much, but there were some great ones that
I'm glad that Ken started things off by putting in a good word for Maybe I'm Amazed. Yeah. Which that was that's one I love that video, and I think it suits the song, the feeling, the sentiment, the era of the time. Man,
yes.
It's perfect.
And I'm really go ahead.
You know what I find really interesting is that there are certain singles that I was mentioning before for which there were no videos at all.
Right.
And then
Photograph.
you got
That's one.
No, there was a video for Photograph.
Yeah.
There's a Photograph
there is?
video. Yeah.
I never saw it in my life. I'm not gonna see it.
There were videos made, as you know, for Three Legs.
Yep.
Yes.
And for Heart of the Country. And those weren't singles at all.
Yeah.
Pneumonia. And yet, yeah. But I mean, when Ram came out, Backseat of My Car was the single in the UK. No video for that. Right. Uncle Albert Admiral Halsey was a single here. No video for that.
Kinda video, because they did the first part in the James Paul McCartney special. So a video.
But that's like 2 years later.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned the Daily Beatle. I do kind of wish that there would be a book that's out that lists all the solo Beatle videos, and it's complete, because there's so many, especially from Paul. And if you were to go on YouTube right now and try and search out a lot of these videos, let's say you're a younger fan and you don't know the original videos, there's so many handmade ones that are done now by fans.
Yes.
You don't know the original from
right.
the newer ones
Ferry
that come
says
out.
On YouTube, the Photograph is on YouTube.
Yeah.
What is it? It can't be from 73 or vintage for the time.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It was, I believe it was also done at Tittenhurst, and Ringo starting off, he's in this really big chair on the grounds, and there's a picture frame next to him, and there's some kind of like furniture or something in it, and then later there's a woman in it, and there's scenes where he's chasing after a woman, the woman's coming towards him, they never meet. They go past each other.
I've never seen
that
this
kind of stuff.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even on my Ringo. I have a compilation from like Sentimental Journey to like La Di Da or something that's not in there.
Right.
It was supposedly in the Daily Beatle that they were saying that it was supposedly lost for a while.
Oh.
So yeah.
Yep.
It's a kind of a weird video in a way. There's a moose head in there that Ringo shoots, and it's obvious that it was cut off already. It's so fake. You got to watch it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, you talk
really
about a book.
Yeah,
you talk about a book, being out for all these videos and to be complete. Well, actually, I mean, you got to kind of have to wait until Paul and Ringo are done making videos to do something like
Mom
that.
writes his book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you're going with that, right?
Yeah, there you go. But yeah. Well, and I think, Ken really summed it up very well toward the beginning of this episode, that, these really are time capsules and really representing a time, both in terms of style, in terms of obviously the music, in terms of where they were in their careers. And so it's really fun to look back and revisit these videos and really see where music video was in the 70s, where each one of them was career-wise in the 70s. So we really encourage you, if you haven't seen some of these videos, a lot of them are on YouTube. Go search them out, check them out for yourself. And I'm sure many of you already know these videos, but take a second look at them and see what you think. And please keep sharing your favorites if you're watching this on the replay. And we do look at your comments, so we will be very curious to read what your favorites are. So this has been a really fun discussion. Really enjoyed it. So why don't we close out by letting everybody know what we are up to. So Joe, I know you usually like going first, so
yeah, because I have not as much to talk about. A little anticlimactic otherwise when it gets to me. No, my channel is on YouTube is Mean Mr. Mayo. Please subscribe over there. I would appreciate it, and see if you like any Beatles and solo Beatles stuff that I do. Recently I did a show, my Fab Gab show. We did an episode where we ranked our songs from least favorite to most favorite on Band on the Run. And well, I don't want to spoil it, but Kid, I know you left a comment, but I asked you after that. I said, which is your favorite? So I think I know what it is, but I don't want to give it away.
I left a comment responding to it. I did today.
Okay. Oh, I got to check it out. We may be on sort of similar, I think. So anyway, that was fun to do. Band on the Run is a great album. And also, I was recently on the Ken Michaels Radio, on YouTube, where I was there with, I'm trying to remember who, Dylan Seavey and David Ghosty Wills, right?
Yep.
And we had a great time discussing about if there's any chance in any way had John and George been alive, that they would have ever got back together, the Beatles, and what we think under what circumstances. And it was a pretty interesting discussion over there. So please check that out on Ken Michaels Radio.
Okay.
Excellent. Tom, you're always a busy guy.
Yes.
What are you up to?
Well, thank you for mentioning about the 900 subs. We just passed the 900 subscribers list on our YouTube channel, Two Legs at Paul McCartney Podcast. So thank you everybody for subscribing. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out, because when we hit 1,000, we will be doing 1,000 subscribers contest. And one of the items that you could win for that will be the red vinyl of the McCartney album. So that would be just one of the things that you could win once we hit the 1,000 subscriber number. For shows, last week we did our look at the 12-inch picture sleeve singles from McCartney throughout his career, starting with Good Night Tonight, actually, and then all the way up to Hope of the Future and some of the Record Store Day 12-inch singles. So we had a great time talking about that. I mean, between all of us, I think we were just missing one. Between Andy and I, we were just missing one of the picture sleeves 12-inch singles. We just did a show with Sam, our frenemy, as we like to call each other, Sam Wiles, where we and that will be coming up this Saturday. We took 3 albums and that had many non-album B-sides, stuff that was never released, stuff that was bonus material, and we reconstructed those albums to our liking. So we took London Town, Off the Ground, and Flowers in the Dirt. We took those, we removed the songs that we didn't necessarily care for, and we added the non-album stuff to that, to what we thought would have made it a better album. So we had a lot of fun doing that. I also want to say we will be having a new theme song coming soon. Our music man Dylan Seavey has worked on a few songs for us, and we're still tooling around with them. So hopefully in February we'll have a brand new theme song from Dylan. So Dylan, thank you for all your work on that. And so yeah, that's what we have right now.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, looking forward to hearing that. Oh, wow. Very curious to hear what that sounds like. Excellent.
Dylan does great work with those themes.
He does. Yes.
Wonderful. All right. And before we go on, want to make sure you know how to reach us. You can reach us, of course, on our Facebook page. Just look up Talk More Talk, a Solo Beatles videocast. You can email us at talkmoresolotalk@gmail.com. We always welcome your feedback, your suggestions for future topics. You just might see one of them on a future show. You can find us on Twitter at talkmoretalk1. That's the number 1. You can find us on our website, talkmoretalk.com. And of course, you can find us right here on this channel. And please subscribe and ring the bell. You can be notified of future episodes, and tell your friends and everyone to subscribe. And of course, you can find the audio version of this show on virtually any podcasting platform you can think of. And our episodes also run on fab4radio.com. Thanks, as always, to Beatle Ed for running our show and many of our individual shows. So thank you so much. As far as I go, just a couple of things. If you are watching or listening to this show before January 27th, there is still time to register for my course, The Music of Stevie Wonder. It's really excited about it. I'll be covering his music from the when he signed with Motown when he was 11 years old up until the present day. I've been working like crazy on this course and trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to fit all of this in 3 weeks, because there's so much to cover. But it's really going to be a lot of fun. You can check on the Talk More Talk page and on my Facebook page how to enroll in the course. So you won't regret it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, I'm going to be guesting on the podcast Ranking the Beatles, and that should be coming out February 8th, I think they said. But I will, of course, post on my Facebook page as soon as the episode goes up. So it should be a lot of fun.
Did you say what song you're going to be talking about?
I'm not sure if I'm permitted to say.
Yeah,
I know what it
maybe
is.
For the best.
So
okay.
I think, so I guess I better not say, but yeah, it's a particular song. It's an early song. I'll say that. Okay. It's an earlier song. Okay. So anyway, so that's all on my end. So Ken, you are always a busy guy too. So what are you up to?
Not as busy as the rest of you, I tell you. Well, I'll tell you, my YouTube channel, I've been pretty busy. And as I said earlier, I did a recent show with Al Sussman and Tom Frangione. And we did a show not that long ago, me, Al, and Tom. Only this time, this was with Bruce Spicer. And just another show talking about the Get Back documentary. I can never get enough of it. And I love hearing different opinions about it, what people got out of it, and to have 3 experts like that on my channel, it's a great feeling. Just like we did it here on things we said today. There'll always be room for more talk about Get Back. Also, as Joe mentioned, I did a show on whether or not my guests felt that if John had lived, and George later on, if he had lived, would the 4 Beatles have ever reunited in any form, be it for a song, an album, a concert, or a tour? And we all discussed the possibilities of that. And we all bring a lot to the table, a lot of different ideas, how the 4 different personalities, how would they have worked together? Who would have been against it? Who would have been for it? At what different stages after the Beatle breakup? When would it have been most likely that there would have been a Beatles reunion, if at all? So that is with Joe, Dylan Seavey, and Dave Ghosty Wills, and got a great reaction to that show. I did a show with Mike Miller, who is the lead singer for a Paul McCartney tribute band in New England called One Sweet Dream. There have been times throughout his life when, I guess if with the right angle, he could look a lot like Paul McCartney. In fact, he even appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, just posing as Paul McCartney for one show with a Hofner bass. But he talks about the band that he's in called One Sweet Dream, and we do a number 9 Dream show with Mike. Also, I did have Sam Wiles. Just recently, I recorded a show with him. He, as you know, does the podcast Paul or Nothing, and we've done a lot of shows together. We actually did 2 shows on Off the Ground, which were on his channels, and we did one show for side 1, we did one show for side 2, and now we just did a show for just the bonus tracks from Off the Ground, and that's on my YouTube channel. And he's kind of like interviewing me because originally he was interviewing me for Off the Ground on his podcast. So yeah, all that's on my channel. Tomorrow there'll be an interview with Owen Lynn, who's been a frequent guest on my channel, in which we review the Dark Horse album from George. Things we said today, my other podcast, there'll be a new episode coming next week. And as always, visit my website, kenmichaelsradio.com. Weekly Beatles trivia, lots of archival audio interviews like the one I mentioned with Neil Innes, which is so funny. If you never heard it before, you gotta listen to it. A lot of talk about the Ruddles and Monty Python and George Harrison, you name it.
Yeah. The last show was on things we said today was good with the misconceptions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed that one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I hope to do more of those. It's
and you don't have time to watch The Honeymooners, Tom? Well, you got to put your priorities straight, right?
Exactly.
Hey, no, he'd rather watch Captain Video.
Yep. The 4 of us come first.
Darn right.
Yeah.
Darn right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in as always. We couldn't do this without you guys, and we thank you as always for your support.
Yes.
We will be back in a couple of weeks with a brand new show. Until then, for Tom, Ken, and Joe, this is Kit saying goodbye.